Hello and welcome to the Crafty Historian episode 10. First of all, I'd like to say if you are a returning viewer and you have watched all 10 of these episodes, may I just say how truly grateful I am. It feels really nice to know that there are people who hopefully I can bring some happiness to. So thank you if you have been watching since the beginning. And if you're new, thank you for coming. For those of you who don't know, my name is Rachel. I am a second year history undergraduate student at the University of York, but for long serving viewers you may recognise I'm actually at home today. It is our Easter holidays and I have been off for a week already. You'd probably expect in that case that we'd have more than usual. In some cases we have, in some cases we really haven't, because in actual fact, the last week of term, I had a bit of a iffy spot, shall we say, and not a lot got done. I finished my friend Grace's socks, which I'd said that I would. They went down really well. You can see that. I just forgot I didn't tell you where to find me. But yes, you can see things in my Ravelry as Rachelravenclaw. And if you want to find me on Instagram, you can find me as Ravenclaw Rachel. That should link below. Disclaimer, still no laptop, but hopefully it will be delivered at the beginning of April. So only 2.5 months without a laptop. Anyway. But good news is I'm getting a new one. Finally. Long time coming. This is clearly not as organised as I would like it to be. And I really don't have much time. I should be reading for my projects and my dissertation. But I'm crafting instead. And while I may feel that's a good idea, probably won't be a good idea for future Rachel. So we've got one shot to do this and we best hope it works. So I suppose we should get on to some knitting content. As I said, the only finished object I had was my friend Grace's socks, but she has already got them. They were out of the King Cole colourway Magic in the zigzag sort of brand. Yeah, and they knit up really nicely. But what I do have another pair of socks. I knocked something off my bookcase. I do have another pair of socks on in one of my handmade bags. Just very simple. This is in the Nora George colourway History. This is the Hermione's Everyday sock pattern. You may recognise not a lot of work has been done on this. And I have a confession about that. I really don't like working in pattern socks. They just seem to slow everything down. And part of my joy with my pattern socks is that I like watching them grow. So I'm thinking I will only do the pattern to the heel and just knit the rest flat, which means I then also have to do the second one the same. But it's good to know I will not be doing a full over pattern sock again, because it's dull and confusing and it doesn't go as quick as I want my socks to go. But I am loving working with this yarn. You can see gorgeous rusty tones. It's pooling up beautifully in a sort of zigzag colour. Yeah, so the yellow starts up here, for example. It comes all the way round and down, and I figure it's going to keep going round, but we'll see how that goes. I'm calling my Hogwarts a history socks because it's the history colourway and Hermione's Everyday sock, and I want to read that book, which I think I've said before, but that's these. As I said, haven't had a lot of work on them because I haven't been feeling them. Half of me wants to rip it out to the cuff, but I also equally would quite like to have a pair of socks that I proved. I tried it, didn't like it. So that's that. Another thing I started last week was my basic blue, or not last week, last time I had podcasted. So this is the basic black pattern for a cardigan. I can't see who it's by, but I'm calling it my basic blue because I'm knitting it in navy. This is where I'm at. I only knit on this really last night, so I've just finished the rib up here. This little dancer, which is just an old charm from a charm bracelet that I had, is hovering out here where I was before. So I did this all in one night. And just sort of trying to figure out waist shaping now. I've never done any waist shaping, so following my pattern diligently. And yeah, the yarn I'm using is Serdar Harrop Tweed, so it's got this nice sort of heathered speckly sort of effect, and I'm enjoying how it's knitting up. It is a bit toothy to touch, but that just means it's going to be nice and warm, which when you live in York you kind of need. It's so windy up there. Not necessarily the cold, you just get battered by the wind, and then you've got the wind chill. So that, oh, you're going to love some of my faces. That is how far I've got with those. What I've been doing most of my knitting time, and because I'm home I haven't really had much knitting time because it's family time when I'm at home. Most of what I've been doing is working on my Cozy Memories blanket. So if you've seen this before, you might have remembered this is going to be really difficult. I had all the way up to this white square done. I think this one's a new one as well. This one was one from a gift from Betsy, I think, as was this one. And this one is from Nikki of the Tea and Possibilities podcast, who is my pen pal at the moment. And I really love how that one's turned out. So this is 1/4 because I'm doing mine in quarters where 2 quarters are exactly the same. So I brought 2 quarters home. Brought this one, which has seen less work. The next one has seen a bit more because previously it just had 1 square. It was just this little tiny pink square here. But I've got all the way here now. Look at this! So I'm going to run out of hands. I've knit all the way across these ones to there, which is the same as these 2 rows. Now I'm on this blue up here. Then I'm going to knit across with the yarn I am keeping in another of my homemade bags. This one's my bunting one. I'm just using up some scraps that I've got. So the first one will be this one, once I've done the blue one, which was my mum's pair of socks. I need to find some white 4-ply, which I know is somewhere in the depths of everywhere else. And then this, which came from Betsy as well. And then this one to the top, and then I'll have 2 matching quadrants like this. I will probably then weave in some of my ends just to save me from doing it. On my Instagram I do actually have a plan of how for the foreseeable future my blanket will plan out, and I've done a few of them. I know this one, which I think is also from Nikki, is going next to this pink one because it's got a nice, it works well with the tones. So that is at the moment keeping me occupied whilst I'm downstairs with my family and knitting away. Because I'm not really knitting during the day. I said I haven't been doing work. I'm going through a bit of a clear out, as I always do whenever I come home. But I'm also in the middle of a love affair with my sewing machine. I always feel by the time I reach the end of term that I really just want to get my sewing machine out. So I resisted the urge for a couple of days, determined that I was going to tidy up and make everything spick and span. And then I've just spent so much time, well, not a lot of time. It's just so satisfying to make things. The sewing machine makes so much quicker. Anyway, rambling. So this is my sewing section, if you couldn't guess. And the first thing I made, get ready for my little furry co-star. It's Jane, and you may be able to spot what I made her. It's this little gathered skirt. I'm afraid, Jane, I'm going to strip you. But it's okay, she's wearing shorts. No indecency of bears here. This is very, very simple skirt. It's just 2 rectangles and a piece of elastic. And turned under hem. Very simple, but it was enough for me to feel back into the swing of things. I was sewing straight, my stitches were straight. I was able to cut straight, which is always a good thing. And now Jane's got something lovely she can wear too. You can't see, but I'm redressing her. There we go. So, yes. And I think with these sort of pinky red polka dots, go really well with her jumper as well. So that's exciting. Yes. So Jane's going to sit in my lap. You'll just see the ears now. I will move on to a little larger sewing because I'm a wee bit chunky, but I have this dream of having an entirely handmade wardrobe. And every year there is a project that goes around called Me Made May, which is a bit of a tongue twister. Where basically you commit to wearing one thing you have made by yourself or fashioned or customized or something every single day of May. Usually I cannot do that because I just haven't had enough before. But this year I'm feeling quietly confident that I may be able to perhaps take this challenge on. Even if it's as simple as wearing a pair of handmade socks, I'm making something that I made. But I've got a skirt that still fits me. Hopefully I'm going to lose a little bit of chub before summer. It's great being at home because there's loads of veg, which I don't have to pay for. Yay. Tangent. But yeah, there are some skirts that I've made. I've got a shirt which I was so proud of. I've got my teal jumper which I have worn previously, and I've got this on the go. Now I've got a couple more things that I can wear. I'm going to show you first one which I actually made this morning, but it's very simple. It is a refashion of the end of a maxi dress that my mum didn't want. you can see it's got this amazing pattern, but it's jersey, so it stretches. And this is my first time I've ever worked with jersey, and I will say it wasn't as scary as I expected it to be. Oh, I've got a loose thread. Right, I will have to deal with that in a minute. So yes, all I did was chopped it off and sewed on a waistband. I've put a little bit of elastic through, which I also need to trim off, just so it will sit nicer on my waist. But we'll see. That was very quick and simple, and I've been meaning to do it for years, and I've finally got round to it. So that, I don't know what I'm doing today. That is one of my skirts, which hopefully will get some wear in Be Made May. I think that'd go really nice with a white shirt, or maybe even probably not quite, maybe my teal jumper. Wait and see. So there's one skirt. My other skirt I have made really just needs hemming, but it's made out of this. If you can see, this fabric is balls of yarn. How perfect is that? And I, of course, this was the first thing I started making. Instead of opening up my pattern drawer, instead of, you know, perusing, I had this metre of fabric which I bought home from university because I found it in a January sale for £1. I brought this home and I self-drafted and self-calculated a pleated skirt. So these are box pleats, and I'm probably going to have to actually use the iron at university if I want to wear this. But oh my goodness, I was so proud of this. All my maths came together perfectly. We've got a zip at the back here. It's not an invisible zip, it's got a lapped cover there. But I also have a button and some elastic to do the top up. I'm probably going to actually shorten the elastic because otherwise that can gape like that. And I just need to finish sewing that down and hem it. And I've got another handmade garment. I'm really happy with this. So gorgeous, and I think it's just cotton, but it was lovely to work with. Let me see, I've still got the selvage edge here because that makes things easier to hem. So it'll be just me standing on a stool whilst my mum turns it under. Helps me pin it. So yes, that is almost done as well. So yes, I've been having some fun. I really need to make some more tops and shirts. So some more shirt fabric perhaps should be on the cards. Things other than blue. I seem to buy a lot of blue. I mean, just here, I'm sorry, I'm going off screen. I've got 2 pieces of fabric because I went through my fabric box of the amount that I have for dresses, and I have this lovely blue and white flowers, which I know the pattern I bought it for, and I'm still really wanting to make that, but it's a big project, so I probably won't make it this holiday. And then I've got white and blue flowers in this really ditzy print. So the fact that those are pretty much the only 2 fabrics I've got would mean I'd end up with a very, very blue wardrobe, which would probably coordinate beautifully. And I mean, I am wearing blue today, I hadn't realised that. Yes, I've got basically, this is my idea of slobs. A huge cardigan, and a shirt, and I'm wearing a denim skirt. Most people would not see this as slobs, but this is my slobs. So yes, very blue wardrobe. I really want to get some more burgundies into it because that is my favourite colour to wear. I have so much burgundy clothing that is bought. Yeah, I just kind of want to feed into the style that I've already established, which is pretty much my personal uniform is a shirt, a jumper or a cardigan and a skirt. Sometimes I swap that for a dress and a cardigan, or a shirt, a jumper and jeans. But always I'm very conscious of this part of my chest. I don't like showing it because I've got some chickenpox scars which I'm not fond of. So just sort of tailoring things so that they fit what I need them to. I have no scrapbooking to show you. I seem to be going through a bit of a recession in my scrapbooking interest, which it comes and it goes, my creative mojo. For years I had no desire to do knitting, and now I do loads of it. For 2015 I pretty much exclusively did scrapbooking, so it comes in dips and troughs. So moving on to some stash acquisitions, which I was very naughty, and part of why I will not be having a on my wish list segment this week, because in all seriousness I can't afford to keep buying things. I mentioned I'm a student, yeah, so we'll just glaze over that because I did buy some things this weekend which are being sent to my university accommodation, so my mother doesn't know I bought them. But I cannot keep doing that. So these are probably one of the last things I will be buying for the foreseeable future. Because it's not like I'm completely without things to buy or to use, am I? But I mentioned I wanted to make more shirts and tops and things, so I purchased the Agnes pattern from Tilly and the Buttons in John Lewis. I had to take my sister to Cambridge for a university masterclass in music as a degree. I basically left her at one of the colleges and just went for a long walk. I spent an hour and a half in Heifers and got a book for my dissertation because I'm boring like that. But yes, this is the Agnes top, which is just a plain jersey stretch top. I will probably make the simple one, although I do rather like the length of the 3/4 sleeves, so we will see how it goes. And it says you can make this entirely with just a sewing machine, no overlocker, but it's made with jersey, hence why I wanted to give, I can't remember where I put it now. Ah, here it is. Well, hence why I wanted to try with this. I wanted to see exactly how it was going to work out. I can't work out if it's straight. Basically, learning through this will teach me basically my questions. Answer my questions on using jersey, hopefully. So I bought the pattern, and to match it I bought some fabric. This is just a plain black and white, oh it's glaring out there, black and white polka dot jersey from John Lewis. Was one of the cheaper ones I could find, but that's going to make a very lovely versatile top to wear, hopefully. So there's that. I have also ordered some lilac fabric to practice make a wearable toile, hopefully, which is one of the things which is going to my university room, and will hopefully match this. So, forays in Jersey. I may regret this, but hopefully not. So yes, this is a very short episode today because, as I said, I have things to do. One of them is I'm getting packaged, so it's probably time for a kiwi. And get rid of all these things. And get rid of my yucky nail polish, because that's been on for a few weeks. I'm sure you saw it last time I podcast, which is rather embarrassing. Although, fun fact, I did melt it off on a pair of hair colours. Yep, that cool. Okay, so I didn't have time to pull together much history today, so we are going back to my On This Day in History book. I have chosen the 1st of April because why not? Because I can't remember what day it is currently, and you're probably not going to see it on the same day I put it up. And you can then use this as a way. These are not April Fools, by the way. I say the 1st of April, I always forget about April Fools. But these are what happened in history on the 1st of April. So, in 1318, the border town of Berwick-upon-Tweed is wrested from English control by the Scots. This small town changed hands so often that declarations of war on England sometimes specified whether it was included or not. Having been omitted from the Treaty of Paris that closed the Crimean War, the town was still technically at war with Russia until 1966, when a mutual declaration of peace was made between the town's mayor and a Russian representative. So that's basically looking at the idiosyncrasies of English politics. They don't know what's going on, basically, and this town, which is very north, they just kept flick-flacking, and they had to specify whenever they needed, whether they were on their side or not. And I'd like to see a town wage war on Russia. That'd be interesting. And then we jump, so that was in 1318, we jump all the way to 1924, where cheerily Adolf Hitler is sentenced to 5 years in prison for his failed beer hole putsch, but he gets out within a year. In prison he will pen Mein Kampf, which will sell over 10 million copies. And that's just very depressing. Moving on, in 1948, it's going to get pretty depressing, actually. After the French, British and Americans announced their intention to unify their sectors of Berlin into West Berlin, the Soviets retaliate today with the imposition of checks on traffic in and out of their own section. The Berlin Wall will follow. So this is part of the decline of relations and the Cold War really starting to bubble up. Joyful. In 1984, for reasons unclear, the father of American singer Marvin Gaye shoots and kills his son in the family home tonight, which is just charming. I don't know how to think about that. But then slightly more pleasant and should be celebrated in 2001. On the 1st of April, the Netherlands becomes the first country to legalise same-sex marriage, which I think is wonderful and a fitting way to finish what was a rather dismal reading of that chapter. But it's more interesting than the Coinage Act, or the Coinage Act. Good God, no. The Samuel Plimsoll line. Oh, that's a flash from the past. So yes, Apologies if this has not been as you had expected it. I'm not sure if I will get a chance to podcast in the next couple of weeks because I've got a dance weekend this weekend coming up. I will be in Leeds and then it's family time. But hopefully I will be able to get another podcast out to you mid-April-ish, and I may have lots of lovely sewing to show you. And fingers crossed my new laptop works and I'll be able to produce more videos, because it means I'm not relying entirely on my phone and its horrific lack of storage. And these will be better edited and I can produce a greater variety of things for you. So thank you for watching. If you have any suggestions about what you would like to see, or if you just want to have a chat, please say hello, give me a like, send a comment. As I mentioned, I have a pen pal currently. I do like having pen pals. I like writing letters because I'm sad. And yes, thank you so much for watching. It means a lot to me. And I really hope that you are having a wonderful springtime because the sun is out. Hence this beautiful glare, because there is nowhere in my room I can find without a window in the background. Unless it's me sitting on my desk, which I don't particularly fancy because I will probably have to move my sewing machine. And it gets a bit temperamental sometimes. Anyway, thank you so much, and I hope you'll all have a wonderful next few weeks. But my words have been awful today, so thank you so much again, and I shall see you again soon. Bye!